Welcome everybody to our social media workshop. This is stage one. Joining me is our clubs and leagues development manager, Simon Jones. Morning, Simon.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I'm okay. We are going to try and talk through social media, aren't we?
That's right. Yes, we wouldn't necessarily put ourselves up as world experts, but we're hopefully going to shed some light on it.
And Simon, you manage the social media accounts for the board, don't you?
That's right. Back in 2012, I sat down with the press officer at Hampshire Cricket and we started Twitter and Facebook, because both that and probably to a degree still our website have a bit of a hole in what we do. And then we branched into YouTube and now, which I am too old to say Insta, but I am going to say it. We now probably have in excess of 8,000 following our accounts.
Yeah, so we're going to try and go through, for the clubs who haven't really used social media before or who've used it but not really made the most of it, we're going to just go through the basics. So the purpose is to show the benefits of social media and what it can do for your club. The overview of the media platforms that we use. As you can see on the picture there are a lot. We don't use all of them, but we'll go through the ones we do use. Talk about how to set them up and then how to use them effectively. Who might be the best person to be the admin, be the person who puts all the social media up, and then just some best examples really of other clubs that are using it really well. If we just start with the stats on social media, it's quite scary really how many people are using it. So 3.5 billion across the world. It's always been used, I think, by the younger population, but you can see there that it's growing amongst the Generation X and the baby boomers. And I think we're seeing that as well, Simon, across our accounts.
That's right. In fact, our first reach, as it were, and engagement is probably with people aged 35 and over. And our issue is actually to use things like YouTube a lot more and Insta, which get to people under 35, under 25.
Yes, and we'll come on to those in a second. So the reason we use it is highlighted here, and lots of businesses are using it more now for all of their advertising. And so 73% believe that it's an effective way of selling their business and using it for their business. We also see that lots of people recommend things that we do on the back of events that we have, and 71% of consumers are going to be positive about what they've done and recommend their brand to their family. And then the final thing, probably the thing that we've adjusted to in the last year or so, is the fact that 91% of all social media users do it via a mobile device, and that's something we've got to consider with all of our posts, Simon.
That's right. There are sort of different sizes that fit different of picture and graphic, or shapes that fit different devices, and we know that over 50% of our accounts are via mobile devices. So while you might ideally want a fantastic quality picture, if it's going to be looked at on something the size of a mobile screen, then there's an argument to say, well, let's just get on with it, and it'll probably look fine for what it's being looked at.
So a little bit about why we're doing this now. Well, one, we've got more time on our hands. I think that's fair to say. So we're sat at home and we thought we'd share this, but obviously the rest of the population has more time on their hands as well, and people are turning to social media. So 20% more time spent on apps during lockdown. Social media has always been the place to talk, but with people being isolated, it's the only place to talk. So it's really important for companies and for cricket clubs to reach out and get in touch with their communities. And then say the final point is there, times like these, connections are more important than ever. We've heard recently, Simon, from clubs who have been really active on social media and not just seeing themselves as cricket clubs, but also parts of the community.
That's right. Hook and Newnham Basics are a good example where they are in a situation that all clubs are in, where they have a financial shortfall coming into the season, because like everyone, they're going to be lacking sort of bar income, match subscriptions, memberships, social event income. So they've gone on to GoFundMe, which is a self-fundraising site, and promoted it via their social media channels, which they've recently reactivated. And they've already raised £2,500 to help see them through the season. There is other support out there, but often people funding you will look at the self-help aspect and say, right, yes, okay, they're worth a bet because they've already raised £2,500 off their own bat. I mean, the other thing we've found as well is that, Rob, you're right, that we've had masses more engagement with our social media channels in the past month, really, since the lockdown. So Twitter, our tweets have been viewed, that's up 45%. Facebook, it's doubled. YouTube, it's 4 times, and it's 2.5 times as many views on our Instagram. So that means that we're able to drive people to our website with people clicking on links and drive people to video content and what we want. That it's never a more crucial time. Again, sorry, hold ourselves up as world experts here, but on the other hand, what I can say is a lot of the clubs who have sadly folded over the past 5 years either haven't had very many social media or website channels or newsletters or mailing lists, or haven't had any at all, or haven't been necessarily using them to their full. So there is a virtue in doing all this.
There is, and we'll go through that now. So a few ways that social media can help your club. Firstly, it's promote the club and attract new members. So a small club, a relatively small club, Sparsholt, from a small little village outside Winchester, you can see they've got a Twitter account, and just down the bottom there, over 1,000 followers, which is a massive reach for a small cricket club who probably have less than 100 members, you say?
Something like that, yes. Maybe sort of 200, including sort of juniors, seniors and parents. But no, that's a fantastic achievement by the club. Another way, and especially at this time, is keeping members up to date with the latest news. So that would be during the season, that would be your results and live scores even. But at this time, Oakley, nice little post there, just letting them know that the work is still being done on the ground and it'll be ready to go once cricket starts. Celebrate milestones and achievements. We've got something from Loxheath here. So they won the cup last year. That got in the paper and they've highlighted it. So this was actually posted in November. So it was a if you missed it kind of post, and then celebrating the fact that their nets are full and they've had a great turnout for nets. So just a great way that spreads amongst the community, which is good news. And then finally, make your club a focal point of the community. And Odin and Greywell, who we've spoken to recently, have done the sign for the NHS and got a flyover, but also they've been helping vulnerable members of their club with by contacting them via social media, then getting their shopping and prescriptions and things like that. I think small can work as well. One great example of actually being in the community that I got shown on a course by I think she was the marketing director of Warwickshire Cricket Board and had her own PR company. And the example she gave is just if clubs have a Facebook page, search your location on Facebook, see which business comes up, and then try and get a relationship with them, because there's a mutual benefit there. So one sports club did this with a pizza delivery firm, not one of the big mainstream ones, and got a money off sort of loyalty scheme with them and set up a relationship with them just on the basis of one social media search.
The main platforms that we use are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we're just going to go through. There's benefits to all of them. There's probably negatives to a few of them as well. So we're just going to go through and see how they can be of interest to your club. We use Facebook mainly because it's the largest audience. There's 44 million users. Benefits for us: we can easily add status updates, and we can use photos and videos. We use a lot of events and milestones. Polls is something we've touched on but not really explored. Simon?
We found that we've got some good engagement over the years with polls. It's something, like many things, that we probably should do more of and will be doing more of during this time. One really good example was when the cricket board was looking at I'll start that one again. One really good example was a number of polls of players about reforms to the game, which were conducted a couple of years ago, leading up to league AGMs, and brought some reforms in. But that was a really great way to back up and reach players and get over the wall of very busy and time-poor secretaries who may not be able to pass everything on. You can actually reach people direct, and that's one of the great strengths of social media polls.
And it says we can put more text on a Facebook post as well. So if we've got a slightly longer update to put, then Facebook's best for that. It's linked to our Instagram account, so it saves a bit of time with posting on there. And we can also use some targeted advertising. We do that around all-stars, dynamos, and women's softball events, things like that. The audience is quite interesting. The average age is now 40, and it's more popular now with the parents, grandparents, and it's actually the usage is falling with the younger population. We'll come on to that in a second. The cons, there are some privacy issues, and it is quite ad focused, but that actually works in the benefit of us as well. But for cricket clubs, you might see some issues there. So there's some things to talk about there with the privacy and things like that. The second main account we use is Twitter. This is probably the biggest for cricket community, Simon, would you say?
Yes, we've actually put together a list of cricket club accounts in Hampshire, and there's 178 of them. And we've only got 140 clubs who affiliate to us. So, yes, it is pretty big.
One thing to consider, though, it might not be the biggest with cricket fans, players, young families.
It's a balance, yes. Again, probably we look at our analytics that you can access if you have a Twitter account, and it can go into the age of those who are engaging with your content, your posts, and it tends to be aged 35 plus for us. So we've got a bit of work to go to hit that average of 25 to 30. Yeah.
So for us, it's good to use though, because it's short and simple, that you can only write so many characters. I find it easier to post on, to be honest, Twitter, and you can quicker to post on. It's used by lots of cricket clubs, so if we want to get a message out to cricket clubs, it's probably the best way for us to do it. The audience is limited. 13 million is obviously much bigger than our audience, so limited in some sense. And we say if we wanted to put a longer message out, then it would be better to use Facebook because of the characters content. On to Instagram, this is a new one for us, really. Well, probably a couple of years now for us.
Yeah, you just dropped out at the beginning of that sentence there. Do you want to do that again?
So on to Instagram.
Dropped out again. Sorry, I don't know. Is there something?
Got me again?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so on to Instagram. This is the newest of our accounts. We've probably been on here for a year, 18 months.
That's right. We've been encouraged by one of our younger coaches, Sam Moss, who is our wickets coach for our Lord Taverners programme, and he's certainly given us a full Insta education. And
it's a picture-based site, so everything has to be associated with a picture or a video. It's really simple to use. A growing audience, a younger audience than Facebook and Twitter, although the average age is about the same, but definitely is used more by younger parts of the community. The problems, I guess it needs to be associated with an image or video, and if you haven't got a good image or video, probably best not to post. I think it needs to be a good quality image, and then if you want to post a link in anything, it doesn't work in the text, so it's a bit difficult for people to actually link out of the site. YouTube,
good for reach with females as well. We tend to be quite male based in our other channels, but we have a higher take up for women and girls for Insta.
And YouTube is definitely your area, Simon. This is your baby, isn't it?
It's certainly a development area, most definitely, and that is when I speak to my 14-year-old teenage son, or perhaps more accurately, when he's speaking to me or at me. Then this is where young people will interact most. So we've just kind of started getting some videos up there and some playlists, which is sort of collections of videos. And I think people are going to kind of need quite a lot of that over the course of this event. So like one thing put together, probably about an hour's worth of material for England's successes in 2019 that you can watch back to back. Or we've also put some coaching stuff there as well and some activity stuff. So we're looking to get that out to you a lot more in the near future.
And it is, yes, it's massive. So it's the second biggest search engine after Google, used by billions probably across the world. Average age, again, is younger than that. Actually, that should be so a lot younger than that. So 14 to 25 is the average age. The quality and content needs to be of top quality. Would you agree, Simon?
Yes, I think so. One of my early faux pas was to film in portrait And my son, who was then at the time 10, told me in no uncertain terms that it should be filmed in landscape, so it fills the whole screen. So with phones, the actual quality of video and sound you can get now is pretty good. I mean, movies have been shot on an iPhone, so just a few tutorials out there, which you can probably find via YouTube itself by Googling and finding YouTube how-to guides, could really see clubs make some absolutely fantastic content.
How to use the accounts is always a question. What to post, when to post. So for a cricket club, I think the key things would be, and we see this every week during the season, so team announcements always creates a bit of conversation, which is good. Event notifications, if you've got anything outside of a game or even just the games, letting people know when the games are. Game results, trophies, wins, training arrangements, supports, acknowledgements, and then photos and videos. I think it really does engage the local community if you're doing those kind of things. How often? We always aim to post no more than once a day on non-match days. Lots of clubs do post regularly on match days, and we try to post at a regular time. That doesn't always happen, does it, Simon?
It is an instant medium, so sometimes stuff happens and you almost get caught into the fact that if you don't publish it, then someone else will have done, and you look like you're a bit behind in this crazy sort of 24-hour media cycle we have. But we are trying to do things regularly. So, for example, the updates on the COVID situation are frequently asked questions, sort of every Tuesday evening, that'll come out. And then people get to know when to expect stuff. It might be subliminal, they get to know it, but it falls into, a bit of a pattern. And then people actually are coming looking for your content, as opposed to happening across it. They're kind of expecting it.
Who's a difficult discussion as well. So it definitely needs to be someone with the time to dedicate to it. It does take a bit of time to get worked out onto it, definitely as well. One person with access to all accounts is definitely better than having different people doing different things on different platforms. And then somebody with an understanding of what is relevant and what's going to be engaging to members and communities. We don't want to just put everything out. We want to just put things out that are going to get picked up and are going to be of importance to the community. So who would you say would be best in a cricket club? I guess it's different club to club.
I think there's a bit of a trust issue there, and it is basically boils down to older people trusting younger people, whereas probably, speaking as a bit of an oldie myself, it's the younger people who've probably got the skills and the knowledge of what looks good and what's completely naff and a no-no. So it's finding that person who can actually do all that stuff for you. It kind of suits maybe the younger volunteer who maybe has a bit of time, a couple of minutes each hour spare on phones, because all this can be done from a phone. And that's the kind of person you want to see. You want some kind of oversight as well. So one person needs to be in charge. Others probably need access or just to kind of oversee it. But it's a great opportunity to involve maybe today's social media volunteer will be the club chairman in about 15, 20 years' time. It's a great way to get volunteers on board. And
younger people can do this stuff so much quicker. I still take time to put it on different accounts and get it.
Me too. I set aside a good 20 minutes to do an Instagram post when I was first starting. I'm a bit quicker now, but not much. And again, my son would be laughing at me.
Yeah. So we've had a little bit of training on the perfect post, and there's a few things. There's quite a few things actually that entail the perfect post. So we've already spoken about picking the right time. You could have the most interactive post ever. If you put it out at the middle of the night or when people aren't looking, then it's not going to get picked up. And the way that Facebook works, if someone doesn't interact with it in the 5-10 minutes, is it, I think, then it doesn't get seen by anybody, or it doesn't get seen by as many people.
Yeah, it's a very short time. So if someone comments on it or likes it, that's great. Maybe one little trick is to let someone in your club know that you'll be posting, and would you mind just liking or sharing this for me when it goes out? It's due to go out at such and such a time, and then that will help amplify the post.
We've definitely done that, haven't we? We've been liking.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. So simple really, be informative and positive, but positive is the key word there. You see so much negativity on social media that positive stuff really does stand out. So use it not to gripe at umpiring decisions or things like that, but to things that are going to help your club grow, milestones, reviews from parents, reviews from players, reviews from other sides, or funny pictures. Definitely fun. We were speaking earlier about the video of the guy missing the ball and then getting the ball thrown on his backside by the other player and how well that went down.
Yes, I think that had millions of views and brought sponsorship revenue to the club as well. And that's a good example of, I think there's a rule of thirds somewhere out there, which is 1/3 your own content, which is information, 1/3 on content that looks to engage. I get a reaction or a click through or a call to action, and 1/3 can be sharing other images. So that example became very big because it was one club's video, but shared by other accounts, which brought traffic to your own account. So if you share the post by Play Cricket, I think it was, or Cricket Shouts, we found one really recently of cricketing funnies, and it's been viewed by about 40,000 people. And we just shared that because the club shared it last year, and we had a bit of a quiet time last weekend, and I just put that up on the off chance on a Saturday morning, and 40,000 views later, loads of comments, and people have then clicked through to the profiles of our social media accounts and hopefully have maybe seen a bit more what we're about.
Yeah, definitely. It's always important to use an image. I think we've used to put out posts without anything attached to them, and they just don't get much interaction, do they?
That's right. And also, as well as images, yes, images, and above that now it's video.
Yeah. So we always, if we can, we try to include a link referring to something that we're talking about or a call to action. So if we're, say, an advert for All Stars, then we want to be able to link to the All Stars website for people to be able to click on to at the end, and then we try and put that at the bottom of the post if possible. We try and be informative. So again at the top, is it going to benefit the followers? Does it give them new information? And if you can't answer any of those questions, you probably shouldn't post it. We try and make it mobile friendly, something we spoke about at the start. So if you're got the best picture, but if it doesn't show up on a mobile, people could be missing chunks of the information. And then finally is the tagging other accounts and including links, but also the hashtags. So Facebook doesn't really pick up on hashtags, but Twitter and Instagram it does. And if you can see there, we try and the ultimate perfect post is to have 11 hashtags on Instagram, and it can become quite tedious trying to think of 11 hashtags, can't it?
Yes, I must admit, as an oldie, I was before I understood what it was about, it rather annoyed me, to be honest, of thinking, why can't you say this in words and long scripts and paragraphs instead of hashtags? But I think understanding that it's actually helping your reach has turned me around on that one. Hashtag
yes.
Converted.
Good. So hopefully that's been helpful for clubs who only really dip their toe into social media or haven't done it at all. The relevance of it to your club and the real importance of being able to connect with people at this time when we're all at home. We're going to have a Facebook Live event on Friday, which you can access through your individual accounts or from your club accounts, where me and Simon will just sit and answer questions. So anything about social media, but I guess anything generally about clubs would be welcomed as well, Simon.
Absolutely. Here to serve. We're sat at home. We've been home working for quite a while, so any other human contact will be very welcome.
And then what if you have set up your accounts or you've followed some of the advice, you found it useful, then we're going to do a stage 2 recording in a second as well. So that's for clubs who are using social media well, but then just little things we can do to enhance the posts and engage with an even wider audience. Okay, that's it for today. Hopefully speak to a few of you on Friday. Thank you very much.
See you Friday.